This is the GoPro Hero Black 11 Mini, the GoPro 11 Mini. It's been getting a little bit of hate on the internet, and I have no idea why. For the size of this camera, for what its intended use is, capturing action POV style, this thing's freaking amazing. The stabilization's great, it captures amazing colors. I don't know what people are complaining about. I mean, I guess people say that it flakes out every now and then and overheats, but yeah, okay, if you're setting it down in your house and not moving, fine, it might overheat, but that's not how you're gonna use the camera. You're out doing all your action-y stuff, capturing footage, it's not gonna overheat, so scrap that. They're complaining about the lack of screen, which is stupid because you can just get the regular Hero 11. If you're just strapping this to your chest or to a chin mount to capture mountain bike footage or skiing or snowboarding or whatever, you really don't need those screens. Without the screens, it's a bit more rugged, it's a little smaller, a little lighter, a little less bouncing around. It's a little less visual when you're out on the trails. I feel like a little bit of a dork sometimes wearing cameras when I'm out on the trails. This just minimizes that a little bit. I mean, I still feel like a dork on the trails with a camera strapped to me, but whatever. For the form factor and the size, the images that you're capturing and the stabilization you're capturing, a few years ago, to get stable footage, you'd be wearing a camera with this giant, stupid gimbal. It looked ridiculous, it was dangerous. Now you just strap this little tiny thing on and you get pretty damn good footage. The only thing I think is missing on this that I'm looking forward to in future cameras or firmware updates or whatever it's gonna take is I do like the horizon lock, and I like it with the wide frame of view. They advertise this as having horizon lock, but it's only if you're using linear, which is like not usable when you're doing action footage. So I can slap on the max lens mod on here. The problem with that is you only can film in 2.7K, which isn't ideal when you have a camera this good that gets to that 4K, 5.3K, you want to use that. And the other one is you don't get the 10-bit color. So you get the 8-bit color instead of the 10-bit color with the max lens mod, so you're not actually capturing that new amazing footage that the new GoPros offer. So yeah, you can get the horizon lock with the max lens mod. It'd be nice if either this had horizon stabilization on the wide setting, or if I could throw in a max lens mod to get that horizon lock, but keep 10-bit color and film up in 4K. I do have two beefs with this camera though. The first is I find the wind noise on here, even with the dead cats I use, to just be a little bit more rumbling than what I had with my GoPro 9. I'm not sure why or what's going on, and I'll keep playing around with it, but I do find the wind noise on this is just a little bit more intrusive, even with the dead cats on. And the other one is the options to pick your setting. My preference is to shoot in 30 frames per second, and I like the Hyperview, which is the widest setting on this camera, along with the SuperView. But the Hyperview squishes in the vertical a little bit to give you a little bit more top and bottom view. So what this doesn't allow you to do is it doesn't allow you to shoot in 4K with Hyperview at 30 frames per second. I either have to shoot in 5.3K at 30 frames per second to use Hyperview, or I have to shoot in 4K at 60 frames per second. I find 60 frames per second really slows down the trail, so that's just no. And I can shoot in 5.3K, that's fine, but my timeline's always 4K, and I upload in 4K, so it's just, I don't know, I feel like it's capturing more information than I need, and if I could just set it to 4K at 30 frames per second with Hyperview, that would be my preference, but for some reason, it doesn't allow it. So maybe with one of the updates coming, it'll switch it so you can kind of have a bit more of those options. There's some other weird setups like that where you use a certain frames per second and a certain resolution and you can't use certain settings and it switches it around. I don't know why they just make it that you can just kind of choose what you want and it kind of all works. I feel like they can do that. So developers, get at it. So those are some of my beefs. But overall, I think this camera, for what its intended use is absolutely fantastic. And if you look back to even just a few years on what you're getting with this camera versus the old ones, it's significantly better. What I'm gonna do today is I'm gonna actually go up and I'm gonna film in SuperView and Hyperview. So I really wanna take a look at the differences between the two. So far I'm preferring the Hyperview, again, which kind of gives you more information on the top and bottom. It kind of squishes it in. You do get more distortion. I think it might speed up the trail a little bit versus the SuperView, which is the same width, but it doesn't squish it down as much. So a little less distortion. It's still pretty fisheye, but a little less distortion, but a little less field of view as well. So anyway, let's go up and we'll see what looks good.
Blue, you're my boy!
Okay, this is Hyperview. we'll try this, see how it compares to SuperView. This really confirms that I do like the field of view, both vertically and horizontally on Hyperview, but I've noticed on this clip that if you look at my hand on the left, that the color is off. There's a lot of red in there and it's a bit fuzzy. You'll see when we switch over to SuperView in a minute, just how much clearer it is. This is SuperView, which I think is just as wide. It just doesn't squish vertically. So I don't know if it's the 5.3K on the Hyperview versus the 4K on the SuperView, or if it's just the difference between Hyperview and SuperView, but I really notice the difference in color. I just find the SuperView at 4K way more vibrant and the blacks to be much truer black, especially on the left side. So I don't know what's going on there. Okay, let's take a look at these side by side so we can really see what the difference is. You can definitely see on the Hyperview on the right that there is more field of view on the top and bottom. You can see just a little bit more of the top tube of the bike, and looking at the branches on the tree on the left, you can see that there's a little bit more field of view up on top as well. It also looks like, I think this has to do with the way active stabilization works, that there's a little bit of a wider field of view on the Hyperview on the right as well. You can just see a little bit more of my arms on that Hyperview. I think overall, I prefer the Hyperview to the SuperView. It's really quite close. I just think it gives a bit more margin of error as far as how much you're seeing of the bike and how much you're seeing of the horizon. The SuperView is a little bit squished there. And it's nice to have a little bit of that extra width on the field of view as well. I do notice, especially on the corners, I do notice a little bit more distortion with the Hyperview, but I think when you're just playing and you're not A/B'ing it, you don't really notice it that much. But when it comes to color, I really prefer the look of the 4K SuperView on the left over the 5.3K Hyperview on the right. The colors are more vibrant, the blacks are a deeper black. So overall, I prefer the field of view of Hyperview, but I like the colors and the overall quality of the image on the SuperView. So I don't know what I'm gonna do. I guess the next step is to go up and test the max lens mod at 2.7K. Maybe I won't miss the difference on that 10-bit color. Maybe I will prefer the stabilization. I don't know. But that's gonna be my next test. I guess I still haven't decided what I'm gonna go with going into 2023. Let me know what you think. Do you like the SuperView on the left, or do you like the Hyperview on the right? Let me know in the comments down below, and stay tuned because I'm going to try to post one with the max lens mod, so if you're curious on what that looks like, that'll be coming out in the next few days. If you want to see another video where I'm testing out this camera, check out this video here. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you again next time.